morning. Good morning. Welcome to your practice today. I have a furry little friend with me, as you can see. This is our little dog Waffles. I was able to do yoga from home this morning because no one is here except for me, which is a very rare occasion. So today we're going to do yoga from a chair. So go ahead and find a chair if you don't already have one. It's helpful to have the chair on a mat so that it does not slide around. You want to create some stability and also some blocks. Find those as well, and a blanket because we'll come to the floor for Shavasana. So while you are gathering those, I just want to remind you that there is a practice in your portal from Wednesday that is addressing kind of a rumination of thoughts that just hang around and kind of take over. We've been talking about that in our meetings lately. And something that's been on my mind is these ways that we can bring yoga into our lives without having to roll out on mats, which is not always a doable thing when you have a busy schedule or you are, you have kids, you're caretaking, you're traveling. There's so many things that can kind of interfere with our practice. So I wanted to share with you today a simple chair practice that really you can do this even sitting on a couch. I like the chair better for the support, and it really kind of encourages some length in the spine and is more supportive. But if you are at a place where there just is not a chair, you can do this wherever you can sit, even if you're, for some reason, Disney came to mind for me. I don't know why. But I remember taking my kids there when they were little, and you can find like these little things outside to sit on. It's not necessarily a chair, but maybe like the edge of something, and you can do some simple things there as well, just to bring us back into our bodies, which we're always trying to come back into the present moment. And also, it's important to remember that it is with a regular yoga practice that you can really start to see the benefits. You can see benefits of yoga, and if I experience this personally, completing a yoga practice once a week. That's how I started. Over the years, I found it to be really important that I am able to incorporate yoga into my daily life, but that doesn't always look like an hour-long practice. And in fact, most days it doesn't. It looks like some of these shorter practices, these interventions. So we'll work with that today. And so when you find your chair, there's a couple of things I want to share with you about a chair yoga practice. Every chair is not the same. Every chair doesn't give you the same support, and every chair has a different height from floor to seat. So what I like to do is come, so I'm not just leaning against the back of the chair, but you can be if that's more comfortable for you. A chair that doesn't have any sides to it is a bit easier to practice in. So when I come to more towards the edge of my chair and I feel how my seat feels, sometimes this seat feels a little bit too high. And I can tell because there's a little bit of a down slope from up here to my knees. So what I will do is find some blocks that are on a low height for me. And I take them hip distance apart. And now my knees are a little bit more in line with my hips. And this feels more comfortable to me. So I'm just going to encourage you to experiment and see. You'll know if you need that support or not. You'll also know like, oh, this chair's better, this chair's not better. It'll just come over time. But regardless, Find out what's comfortable for you today. And we're going to start with just some breath work. So we have a nice long seat. And by long, I mean there's a little bit of down motion pressing in so that the spine can lift up. The belly comes in a little bit. Roll the shoulders a couple of times. Let those come down the back. Crown of head, you think of that moving toward the sky, but then you bring the chin down just a teeny tiny bit. Make some space in the back of the neck. And let's have some nice inhales and exhales here. We're coming back to that long, slow breath that we're familiar with. That is the invitation to come back into the present moment. The invitation to reconnect with our body. The invitation for the slowing down of the mind. Long, slow breaths here. And you can bring a gentle awareness to where your feet are meeting the ground or support, to the parts of your body that are in contact with a chair or with each other. Let those serve as your sensations of grounding, the ability to bring you down and in. And we can keep the eyes closed here. Your next exhale will find your chin going down toward the chest, nice and slow. So take your whole breath. And on the inhale, the chin comes back up to center. We're not going all the way up just yet. Exhale, bringing chin to chest. Inhales coming up nice and slow. Do this at your breath pace. A couple of more times here. Really taking your time. Remember, this invitation is to come into present moment awareness slowly. Once you come back to center, your chin is level, pause there. On your next exhale, take the gaze over to your right. Let the inhale bring you slowly back to center. Exhale to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, right. And continue with this motion. You'll be noticing after a few times like this, some original tension or tightness might be loosening up or dissipating. And then back to center. Pause and take your right ear to the right shoulder. As much as is comfortable, we're going to take several long breaths here. Just letting your neck open on the side. Take your left arm and let it drop down to the side gently. Nice long, slow breaths. And head comes back to center and back into the lap. Left ear, left shoulder. Staying right like this at first. Breathing into the sensation. Sometimes we can get caught up in comparing the sides. Usually they're different, and that's okay that they're different. And then you can let the right hand kind of dangle to the side. Taking a couple of long cycles of breath. Inhale, coming back to center. Okay, let's do some cat-cow here. So for cat-cow, I like to take my feet just a little bit wider apart. You might like to do that as well. I also like to scoot a little more forward in my chair. The belly, we can kind of make some room for the belly in the center. Hands over the knees, arms are as straight as they go for you. As you inhale, bring the belly forward, the heart center opens, the gaze goes up. And then your exhalation, you round everything, chin coming down, belly coming back. Inhaling, opening up. Exhaling, coming down. Keep doing this with your own cycle of breath. It is really important to move the spine, to make room between the vertebrae for the discs. Creating some motion helps to create lubrication. Keep with these cat-cows. One more times. The next time you round back like that cat position, pause there. Take 2 long, slow breaths. And come back to center. Add the arm movements in. So we'll let the inhale, the palms are facing up. We inhale nice and slowly. Palms reach each other. And then they turn away from each other as they come down on the exhale. We're going to continue this. Again, moving really slowly, like you're moving through just the most luxurious, comforting, perhaps some bubbly water. Nice and slow. You can check in here with your abdominals. See if they can just draw in really slowly if they aren't already, and gently to give the back some support. It's just a very gentle support. A couple of more times here. Nice job, everyone. Next time we come up, and the palms meet at the center. We'll bring them down to heart center and pause. In this pause, we'll take a nice long breath. And if you are watching this video as you have just a short amount of time, this would be a place that you could stop. We've been practicing for about 12 minutes or so. And I give you the permission to do that as sometimes that is difficult to feel we can stop a practice and as if we might be less because we didn't finish it for the whole entire time. So this is your permission to stop your practice here if that is what is working for you today. Okay, then releasing the hands down to the lap. We're going to take the arms out and then bring them over, one crossing the other, giving ourselves a hug. And we're also going to pause here. So as your hands are on the outsides of the shoulders, give them a very gentle pressure that's moving downward. You can feel this might help to create some space between the shoulder blades. Take a couple of breaths here. And then your next breath, take note of which arm is on top. And then we will exhale. Sorry, guys. And then crossing over the opposite. Nice, slow, steady breath. Again, that downward motion on the hands. Do that once more on each side. So crossing again. Some gentle pressure downward. And the shoulders come down. Space between the shoulder blades. Breathing long and steady. Opening. One more time. That last little hug. Some pressure on the arms and shoulders in the downward way. And let's bring the hands down to the lap. Okay, the feet are going to stay a little bit wide on this one. Again, you can move the belly to the center. We're just going to do some simple twists. So it looks like we're taking the left shoulder toward the right knee. On your exhale, and then on the inhale, back to center, right shoulder toward right, or sorry, the opposite way. Okay, just keep doing this. Use your breath. Find a pace that feels good to you. And link your breath to that pace. More times. Once more. Come back to center and pause. Roll out the shoulders here. Go ahead and take your right arm and you can place it down to the side. You might be able to hold on depending on kind of what your chair is like. You could even scoot back in the chair a little bit and hold on behind you. Well, I'm going to change that. Hold on next to you because we're going to do, we're just going to go over for a side bend. So inhaling, left arm comes up and then exhale over to the side. So I'm going to hold on to underneath my chair because that feels better. Slow, steady breaths. Do with your gaze what you like. Sometimes it feels good to look to the ground. Other times up. Whatever feels good for you today. Inhale to center, and we're going to switch sides. Reaching, breathing. Perhaps looking down or up. Whatever feels comforting here. Slow, steady breaths. Inhale back to center. We'll do that one more time. Each side, a few long, slow breaths. Back to center. Second side, last time. Back to center. Kind of wiggle it out. Whatever would feel good. This time, I'm going to scoot a little more forward in my chair. Take my feet wide enough that I have room for my belly, because we're going to come forward only halfway though. So we're going to take the arms into a cactus shape, nice and broad across the collarbones and the back body. And I want you to engage your abdominals here. So it's not a really tight engagement, it's just a slight engagement. And we're going to hinge forward about halfway. Feel the core engage. Find your breath here. Inhale, come up. Release the hands. Pause. I want you to notice the energy that was created right there. And once more, that cactus shape, broad and wide. Pull the belly in. Hold and breathe. And gently coming in. I'm going to pause here for one moment. I will be back in a moment. Thanks, guys. Oh, I needed to go outdoors going on. Okay, we are here, if I recall. Coming up nice and easy. Again, rolling the shoulders. Okay, doke. We're gonna do some forward folding. I like to have my blocks. So I recommend you do that as well. Even if you had your feet on the blocks, we're gonna fold forward. So this should be okay to take them off, and you can have the blocks there for support. If you want to be firmly on your chair, not on the edge as you fold forward, draw in the belly. Inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, the arms are going to come straight forward. You can find your blocks to start. Doing this kind of half fold. And you might have a lot of space. You might be able to easily reach the ground, or turn the blocks down a bit. Breathe. You want to stay really planted in your feet, as well as sending the hips back and stay nice and grounded. A couple of breath cycles here, engaging the core. As you come up, inhaling, arms up, hands to heart center. Inhale up. Exhale, fold. Breathe. Inhaling and exhaling. Drawing in the belly. Inhaling, arms up. Hands to heart center. Once more, inhaling up. Exhaling, folding forward. Letting the head hang down. Nice, slow, steady breaths. And inhaling up. Palms heart center. Pause. Nice long inhale. Nice long exhale. Add a twist into our fold. So we'll inhale up. Exhale, fold forward. Bring your blocks back to the highest height if they're not there. Take your right block more toward the center with your hand on it. Left hand to left hip. And then you'll rotate open to the left any amount. You can keep your hand on your hip or extend your arm if that feels good. I prefer hand on hip. Breathe. Exhale, coming down. Switch. So taking the left hand more towards center, right hand, right hip, twisting to the right. Inhaling, exhaling. Releasing, coming down to center. Pause here in the forward fold. Draw the belly button up into the spine. Inhaling up. Hands to heart center. Nice job, everyone. Okay, and set the blocks to the side. Bring the feet so they are about hip distance apart and close enough to the front of the chair that you can fold forward, but not so close as you would feel unstable. When you're here, take your right foot out. We're gonna flex the toes, keeping a little bit of energy in that right leg. The left leg might need to go out a little to make space for the belly. We're going to hinge from the hip crease. So I like to find that point first with my hands and then come forward any amount. Breathe nice and easy. Try not to put too much pressure on your legs. You can even have your hands back on the chair if that feels good. Slow, steady breaths. Make sure you're still staying nice and rooted in your seat. We'll inhale, coming up. Take your right ankle up to your left knee. Nice and tall. Let's first kind of roll out the ankle a little. And we'll do that in the second direction as well. And then we're going to place, stay steady, but have a little bit of a flex in your foot, not too much. Inhale, nice and tall. Hinge forward any amount. And slow, steady breaths here. Breathe into any sensation that you might be having. Keep your face relaxed. Your head and neck relaxed. A couple of more breaths. And then coming back up, gently releasing. And we'll do the second side. So the left leg comes out straight, any amount. A little bit of flex in that foot. And you want to make sure you have a nice steady seat. Inhaling up, make some space from the hip crease, hinging forward. Nice long breaths. Again, we want to keep a softness in the face, shoulders away from the ears. Slow and steady breathing. Gently coming up. Pause for a breath. And this time it's a left foot. Feel the right knee. You might notice that one side feels different than the other, and don't worry about that. It is true. We usually have one side that does feel different than the other. For me, it's this side. It always feels just a little bit tighter, so I like to give it a little more care, a little bit of extra care. So up, belly. Oh, let's stretch out our ankle. Full circle, one direction, then the other. And then nice and tall, gently hinging forward. If you know that one side is a little bit tighter, then you might not be surprised that you don't fold forward as easily on that side. So what I recommend is that you don't go all the way to as far as you think. So if you feel like you're at your edge, you might want to come back a little and let your body kind of settle in a spot that feels a little more gentle. And sometimes that will allow you move back to the edge in a little more thoughtful manner with a little more ease. And inhaling back to center, and we'll gently release this leg. Okay. Again, comfort in your seat. So just wiggling around a little if you need to. And we'll start with the left leg. I'm just going to bring some circles into this. You can really get a lot of things done in a chair. I'm thinking specifically like if you're at a hotel or something, that you can get a nice practice in with just the chairs that they have there. Second direction if you haven't already. Release that side and second side. Circles with the knee. And then second direction. And release. Okay, we're going to do a twist. If you have sides to your chair, you're going to stay forward and twist. If you don't have sides to your chair, walk with me. We'll go over to the right first. So we just kind of tiptoe the feet over. So we're sitting sideways on our chair. Feet are on the ground. So I needed to move a little forward. You can see there's a lot of space back there. I needed to move forward to feel more secure in the chair. I'm going to inhale both arms up. Exhale, turn toward the back of the chair. You can hold on to either side of the chair. Some long, slow, steady breaths here. Soft in the face. It can be tempting to kind of pull yourself a little more than necessary in the chair. So we're just using it for support, not to kind of leverage things into the twist. One more long inhalation, exhalation. Gently come forward and pause there. Just notice the unwinding that happens. And then we'll move to the second side. So finding a place that feels nice and steady and comfortable for you on the second side. Nice and tall. In the spine, the belly is slightly drawn in. Inhaling both arms up. Exhaling to a twist. Just using the chair as kind of a placeholder for your hands. Slow, steady breathing here. Shoulders are released down the back. Coming forward. And then releasing when you're ready. Coming back forward. Thank you, everyone, for practicing that. We are going to come into a seated Shavasana, but if you are wanting to, you can definitely go into Shavasana laying on the ground. Have a blanket for underneath the head and neck. You could even put your feet up on the chair, but we'll do a seated Shavasana just in case when you're doing this video, you only have a chair. So for the Shavasana, I'm going to find my blocks again to put underneath my feet because that feels more supportive. And in this seated Shavasana, I do want you to be against the chair, but in a nice tall seat. So you're against the chair as much as you can be against the back. Have your feet supported underneath if you can so that you're comfortable. If you don't need to, don't worry about that. Rest the hands in your lap and roll the shoulders a few times. You can kind of get used to them coming down the back and seeing what that feels like. And we're going to come back to that familiar long, slow breath. And as you use that breath to draw you into a more restful state in these next few minutes of some awareness from the bottoms of the feet through the legs, the belly, chest and the arms, neck and the shoulders and the face. Noticing how these parts of your body are feeling after just practicing in a chair. Trying to set a memory that a chair practice is also yoga. It can also bring us into the present moment, back into our bodies. It can help to still the mind. And we'll take one hand to the low belly and the other to the heart center. And we can just imagine that our hands are in these places, filling us with love for ourselves, gratitude for ourselves, for showing up for ourselves, for doing the practice that fits us today. That just for now, we will remain free of judgment. Notice the rise and fall of the breath underneath the love and gratitude of our hand. Letting that seep in, moving throughout our body. And 2 long inhalations and exhalations. And we'll place the hands together at heart center. Thank you for sharing your practice with me today. Namaste.